but we are back now. We didn't miss too much. There haven't been too many games, too many moves, but the important development is that the Armageddon game between Vishy and Wang Hao has begun, and we already have quite some intrigue in the first 13 moves.
Yep. Let's check it out. Wow, what is that position? I mean,
another pawn sack line.
Right.
Ooh. Allowing queen b3. Interesting.
Right. So I think you're going to get that on the screen in a moment.
Yeah, in just a moment. Sorry, I was moving pieces. There we go. Now it's up again. Okay, so he played h6 allowing queen b3, but Vishy instead going for bishop d5 and knight c4, picking up the pawn on d6. Ugh, this looks pretty ugly for black.
Wow, this is interesting. I think this is exactly what you need for Armageddon game, because normally this is not the main line, not normally how you play against the Rasalimo. So Vishy sacrifices a pawn and goes for the bishop d6 idea. So very interesting gambit. I mean, Anand simply has no other choice because he's playing with white. He has to win. Wang Hao is trying to play very solid. He got the pawn, and now he's still pressing.
Yeah, and he's far ahead on the clock. Knight d6 is coming, and Wang Hao has to move his rook back to f8.
Right, knight e6 is a big threat. So here, black cannot really take on d5 because knight e5, e takes on d5, and queen d5 doesn't feels like it's an extra pawn, but there is a fork on b6, and that's why black cannot really do it. So the position seems to be pretty annoying for the Chinese grandmaster. I mean, I'm not really familiar, Daniel, with this line. This entire system of c3, e5, d4. I know this idea definitely exists. Sacrifice the pawn, then put the bishop at f4, bishop d6. But I don't know about this particular order of the moves. I mean, c3, e5, and d4. Maybe you know more.
No, I mean, e5 to me is pretty... I do play c3 with white, but I've never faced e5, and I know that d4 can be a very dangerous idea in those positions.
Right.
And h3, what a cold-blooded move by Vishy. The point is that black cannot take twice on d5. There's a fork on b6. So Vishy using tactics to his advantage here. Black could take on d5 and then not take the second time, but it's not entirely clear where to put the knight. Entirely clear where to put the knight.
Right. Yeah, so that's why Wang Hao here is thinking very hard. H3 stops bishop g4 from happening, and Wang Hao is seeking simplification. So that's why he took on d5, played knight e7.
Now I guess d6.
And knight f5.
Bishop e5, but then you can take maybe.
Right, so maybe it's actually not so bad. Maybe this h3 was too cold move. So knight e7, how do you protect the pawn? There could be bishop d6. I can just play rook e8.
Right.
I think Wang Hao is actually doing fine, but the clock, I mean, he has 3 minutes, which normally should be enough, but still twice as time less as Anand.
Right.
I think that the worst is behind him, because I had a feeling a couple of moves ago it felt dangerous. It felt dangerous when he played something like h6, which is move 10, right? So it felt there might be something. Maybe what Anand chose, this bishop d5, knight c4, bishop takes on d6, was not the most precise, but it looked very logical. So we had a couple of moves.
But this just doesn't look like it. It looks like Vishy has not squeezed even nearly as much as he could have out of this opening. And it looks like Wang Hao has solved most of his problems, except the problems on his clock, which still persist.
He cannot solve, really. I mean, only thing he can solve is just start to play a little bit faster, and he is doing that. So although move 18, 3 minutes on the clock, could be problematic.
Yeah, it could be seriously problematic. I guess he's trying to decide where to put his bishop from c8. I mean, bishop e6 walks into knight c5, and bishop f5 walks into knight d6. So there's issues associated with all of the developing moves.
Yeah. So what if? Yeah, I was about to suggest what if b5, and my answer was immediately right there. Knight e6, knight b6 on the board. So black wants to get the last bishop out.
So he wants to play bishop e6.
Yeah. By the way, the pawn on b2 is along the way somewhere under attack. I guess black has no time to take it, and white has no time to protect it. So they just pretend to ignore the pawn. Knight b6, queen f3 looks very active move. Again, playing for some domination. Maybe I don't think Vishy is going to play something very solid like protecting the pawn on b2. He needs to be extremely aggressive. The knight on d6 maybe is his only hope.
Right. But black doesn't really have any targets in his position.
Yeah.
By the way, it looks like Rajabov has resigned. Whoa. Did
right.
you seriously play queen b6 here?
Mouse slip? No?
No, I think he played queen b6 and resigned.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I kind of don't either. Maybe he resigned here just realizing that he's got 3 minutes and down a pawn and his position sucks.
Play queen b6 for content, no?
Right. Queen b6.
Okay, I don't believe it really, but okay.
But in any case, the result is official and Magnus has won. And that leaves us with only one other classical game. But let's switch back to our Armageddon game, where Vishy is in a must-win situation against...
And he's pressing. I mean, he's putting the knight on d6, the knight on c5. He's sacrificing exchange. I love this. I mean, look at this. He's really determined, because a couple of moves ago, it felt like he blew his chance. Now he is setting up some problems for black. He sacrificed the exchange in a1. And of course, Wang Hao is not going to test it. He doesn't want to find out how exactly strong is white's attack on those dark squares. So knight e7 instead.
Knight d7, trying to trade off a knight. Now rook c1 is quite likely, I think.
Right.
Rook c1, but knight c5 and bishop e6. I mean, again, I think this all boils down to the fact that black has no targets in his position. So what is white going to attack?
And there's always the endgame, right? I mean, if you have no attack, you always can and go to the endgame. And
there's always the flagging.
That is the last result.
Wait a minute. Whoa, rook takes c8?
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that was a blunder. I think that was
a blunder.
That was not intended.
Oh, queen e7, rook f8, and knight c8. Okay, but not that there's even knight takes c4 there.
That can be easily missed, you know. And that's happening actually.
Blunder.
No, it's not happening. It's not happening.
Queen takes c8, I think, is forced.
He sacrificed the queen. Okay, there you go. There's your action.
There we go. And there's still chances for black here. I mean, rook and a piece and very active pieces. But obviously, this is the most that Vishy could have possibly asked for.
He's just like, wow, how did I get this, right? I mean, okay, now I have a real chance. So queen g4, rook e8, okay.
Probably rook d1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Materially wise, I guess black can hold this, right? I mean, trade many pieces, trade rooks, trade bishops, put the rook on e6, and just sit like this and do nothing. And he starts with it.
This should be drawable, I guess, for black.
Right. I guess white is not going to trade the bishops, because at some point you might need a5, a6, go to the pawn on a6. I mean, a4, a5, play bishop b6, and go after the pawn on a6. The bar says it's, total equal. Wow.
Wait, what if black plays, okay, b4. Apparently that was not the move, and it took Wang Hao another 12 seconds to play it.
Now, look at the clock. Look at the clock. I mean, it's 1 minute on the clock. So this is move only 29.
Yeah, you're playing a bullet game.
I think Wang Hao is going down. I don't believe that Vishy is not going to win this. I mean, he has the material. The clock is in his favor. How does he do it?
And the other thing is, what was I going to say? Completely forgot what oh, yeah. So after move 40, it's a 1 second increment, right?
Yep.
So as we were discussing, it's not like you can't lose on time after move 40. So Wang Yao's in trouble. He goes knight c3 and h5. He's continuing to improve his pieces. But how is Vishy going to make progress here? What specifically is White's plan? Rook d8, going for a trade of rooks.
Does he want to trade the rooks at all? I guess he wants and go after the pawn on a5, takes, bishop b6, something like this. Maybe
b6,
find a good moment to include a4 somehow. Okay,
no, queen d7.
Centralizing move. Oh, don't blunder any mate ideas. Rook d1, bishop e5. I mean, be careful. No, black plays rook d5, bishop e5. Oops.
Oh, bishop e5. Well, I guess bishop e5 white still is a check, but Vishy definitely won't allow that. He could play g3 here to create more space for his king.
What about g4? Do you want to trade pawns? Or g3 just, yeah, g4. Yeah.
g4, good move. Because you're also expanding on the king side and clamping down on black's king. Ooh, queen c6 with a fork. And all of Wang Hao's pieces are now hanging.
And the clock is ticking. Okay, now he gets officially +1 second. I'm not sure if that means anything after his next move.
I think it's just lost. Because, okay, king g7, is there bishop h6 check?
There might be queen c2. Oh, queen c2 is knight c3 though. Bishop h6 also looks
knight
good.
c3.
This looks winning. It feels winning. The bar says it's completely winning.
I think bishop h6 is the move because the king is just busted on h6. Because after queen f6, queen h8 is a huge threat.
There's a mate threat. This is some kind of level number 40 puzzle. I don't know.
Right. And Vishy's definitely calculating it. He goes for it.
The knight on a2 is going to stay there until the end of the game. So rook d7, queen h8, king g5, king g3, f4, checkmate. What?
King h3, I guess.
King h3. It's still good.
It's over. King is hiding on h4, and this is a mate threat.
I'm slightly surprised about the bar, though, but I think the engine is still simply not picking up. Yeah. Yep.
And Wang Hao resigned.
Wow.
Vishy's such a beast.
Monster.
Just total and absolute monster. And what a ridiculously crazy position we have in the Veselin game.
Let's go to that.
And that's the last game.
Oh, this is
what is happening?
This is a race.
This is a race, and it's a wild race.
A wild race. 3 pawns against 2 pawns. Obstacle are bishops. What do you think is going to win this?
I don't even know who I would prefer to have. These positions are totally impossible to evaluate.
Right.
I mean, neither side has an easy time pushing their passers.
Well, technically, black has an extra pawn, but white's passed pawns are far advanced, right? More far advanced. a5, a6 comes a bit faster. Black's maybe hope is push the h pawn, that would become very slow. Something like knight g3, h5, h4, h3, h2, etc. I think usually in these positions, I mean, okay, they still have 7 and 9 minutes, but it really depends when it's in time scramble, whose moves are easier to make.
Right.
All right.
So he went rook e7 and now a5 by white. How do you decide on a move in these types of positions?
I guess my logic would be very simple. The knight on h5 needs to be improved, so I would start with knight g3. Then I pray everything works.
Right, knight g3, and that also opens up the pathway for the h-pawn, which
exactly.
would be important.
Yeah, exactly. So knight g3, and then white needs to figure out what he's going to do. Let's say he plays something like a6. I see the pawn is not going anywhere, so I guess I just push h5 bravely, close my eyes, and pray.
Right. So let's say knight g3 happens and white plays a6 and black responds with h5.
Right. So I guess white needs the b pawn as well. So the bishop needs to be removed somewhere d3, I guess.
He's played knight f6, so same idea, but a slightly different execution.
Maybe it's also slightly more defensive because knight on g3 is a bit away from action. So the knight on f6, if necessary, is ready to join the passed pawns. I mean, try to stop them. Most like knight e5, maybe some sacrifice on b4. If the situation demands it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think, yeah.
No, I was just going to say that the only drawback is that the rook is now X-raying the knight, but that's not really something that white can exploit. But sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, I was now wondering what is Shahryar going to do, and does it really matter? I mean, do I play a6 or I start to push the b pawn, right? Maybe I just play something like a bishop, I don't know where, bishop d3 or c4, f1. I have no idea where to put it, and start to push the b pawn, because the a pawn is alone, not going anywhere. It needs help. It needs to support.
Yeah, it's not going past a6. That's the main problem. Whereas the h pawn has a very clear path all the way to promotion, and there's not much white can do about it. So white better start getting his own pawns in motion.
Unless you have an idea like a6, knight b7, and rook c5. And
Wow.
suddenly I claim my a pawn is unstoppable.
Rook c1. Okay. Rook c1, attacking the bishop, forcing the bishop to decide where to go.
So I guess something like bishop d4 makes sense to stop rook a1. Maybe Shahryar's idea is also gain access to rook a1. Or maybe he frees up the c6 square for the bishop, actually. Maybe that's the idea. Bishop
c. And then b5, b6.
Right.
Very quickly.
Yeah, this might be the idea.
I feel like Shahryar is going to win this game. I just feel like Veselin is kind of losing the thread here a little bit.
I feel it's not going to be a draw.
No, I mean, nowadays anything can end in a draw, but we need to invite Anish. He'll find a way to, to make a draw out of this position.
All right. So bishop c6. Okay, I mean, black also wants to push the pawns. So what about we start to push them? How far do they go? So let's say bishop c6, and which pawn do I push? Because bishop on c6 actually is pretty annoying, because not only it advances white's pawns, but it also stops black's.
Right. Yeah, this bishop is so annoying for black, because even if the pawn gets to h2, it's not really promoting ever. Yeah. And even if black pushes the g pawn up to g3, like black will eventually have to play a move like knight e4, otherwise the pawns will never be able to supersede that bishop's barrier. So Mamedyarov is taking his time. He's got 6.5 minutes for the rest of the game. Obviously, they're in the 10-second increment zone. It's not helping all that much in a position this complex.
Right. Very big decision for him. Maybe he's looking for some forcing lines. Maybe he's thinking about some exchange sacrifice. I'm not sure if you really want to sacrifice the exchange here. Probably not. But I would be looking at this. For example, if there is a forcing way, let's say rook f1, I take on f2, play bishop c6, and I calculate to 10, 20, and I claim that this is winning.
Right.
It's losing. Yeah, I guess.
I guess because of rook e6. Oh, but rook e6, there's a6.
Yeah, that's the point. I mean, rook a6, rook e6, a6, take on d6, a7, rook d8, I resign. Yeah, no, very good point. No, I guess so. Yeah.
I guess there's b5.
There's b5. Okay.
With a total and complete mess, but he didn't play it. He played rook. He did make a rook move. He went up to c2. He went up to c2, attacking the bishop again. Could we see some sort of a repetition here? No, king g3.
Would you really, Daniel, would you expect that Shahryar would agree to draw here? For example, let's say rook c2, bishop g1, rook c1, bishop f2.
I mean, given his time situation, maybe. But yeah, no, with his pawns as far advanced as they are, I think he's thinking as ambitiously as he can.
Right, right. King g3. It opens the f pawn. Yeah.
Yeah, he's finally ready to start pushing.
And h5, h4, h3, h2.
What if white goes a6 with the idea of playing rook takes f2?
And then I just sacrificed, right? Okay, let's try to do that. Let's say a6. Let's say I play h5. I see nothing.
So if I take and go knight b7?
Right, takes, knight b7.
Oh, but there's this.
Ooh. That's why you have the knight on f6. Not on g3.
Right, so it could go to d5. You mentioned that when he played it. And bishop c6 by Shahryar. So he resorts to the main idea of paving the way for the B pawn to rumble forward.
Mm-hmm. How do you stop it? Maybe there's
How
some
do you
annoying
stop
move
it?
like rook e6, you know, try to disrupt white's piece coordination. Rook e6 could, black could, I mean, white could have some problems to find a good square for the knight. I mean, where do you put it? I could,
Well,
of
I
course,
thought rook d2 makes sense.
rook d2.
Although I guess you could also move the knight. I didn't realize the bishop is defended for some reason.
Right. So I don't think you want to play something like knight f7 because I don't understand what the knight is doing there. So I guess the knight wants to assist pushing forward those pawns, right? So either knight b7 or knight c8. And yeah, to be honest, it feels a bit random. I have no idea what I'm suggesting here because it's just such a mess. Such a mess. I mean, maybe if you would be armed with engines, it would be so much easier, but just...
Yeah, imagine just having this position with 7 minutes on the clock or 4 minutes on the clock. So all these complications and absolutely unclear, you know, what distinguishes one move from another move.
Absolutely. So after bishop c6, what do you play here? You're Topolov. So I guess there's also the move knight e4 at some point, by the way. Knight e4, try to force trade, sort of make a defensive move. And if you take on e4, I push e3.
Right.
Or maybe just close the h file, by the way. I mean, the diagonal for the bishop. Knight e4 takes, and h5, h4, h3. The bishop no longer is controlling the diagonal. Also, this is a move.
Yeah, now all of a sudden black could be the one to start thinking about playing for a win. So
Right.
let's say bishop e4, fe4, b5. No, but already black gets that pawn down to e3 and is probably winning.
Right.
So things could take a turn for the worse really quickly here for white.
Knight e4, the more I look at it, I like it. It's very intuitive move.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think he'll play it. It clarifies the position.
Mm-hmm. No.
Plays rook e6?
He plays rook
He plays rook e6.
Maybe he wants to first force either rook d2 or knight c8 and then play knight e4.
Uh-huh. So rook
What about
d2
now
played.
knight e4?
Now knight e4, because the rook on d2 is vulnerable to e4, e3, which would now come with tempo.
Right.
Huh. Yeah, I like that idea. Maybe rook d2 was hasty. Maybe he should have considered a knight move.
It's actually such a tricky position because let's imagine we played knight e4, right? Knight e4, pawn takes on e4, b5, e3, and rook e2. And actually, this bishop on f2 now is closed.
Right. It's totally locked in.
Yeah, it doesn't help. So do you really want to go there? Maybe this is what it's keeping back Veselin. I mean, he is like creating a passed pawn which cannot really move forward. And if I cannot move it forward, why do I create a passed pawn?
Yeah, so in this position, already rook f, well, a6 is, well, I guess there might not be any threat, so maybe you should play h5.
All right, and I play b5. Yeah. Oh, wait, here, h5, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So b6 is not moving.
Well, you could actually go b6.
I just take on b6, no? No, on b6. Bishop b6. Or am I missing something?
No. There's bishop d7, you've got bishop a5.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Nice.
Yeah.
f4.
Wow.
f4.
The bar says I hate it.
Well, I think knight e4 was definitely the move.
Knight e4 felt right.
Yeah, this just doesn't feel fast enough. So Mamedyarov is probably going to go b5. And he's going to have to play quickly. Now both sides under 4 minutes. He plays b5. Here we go. It just seems to me that Veselin is not... he's just losing the grip here.
Right. Bishop c5. Then again, he frees up the f file for the pawn, attacks the knight.
Should rook d3 check be thrown in? I guess not because of rook e3. Rook d3 check, there's rook e3.
Right.
And all of a sudden, white is in huge trouble because you will not be able to stop the pawn here. Yeah.
What if I
exactly.
just go something like knight c4? No, I mean just go back, f3, and put the knight on d2 somehow.
Right. Well, I mean, f3, there's rook d3.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why knight c4 is particularly good because it protects the e3 square.
Yeah. Okay, rook d3 I didn't see, but that's nice.
He gives a check on d3.
That's your idea.
Isn't that a blunder? Or at least a serious inaccuracy due to rook e3?
Right. Yeah, maybe.
What am I missing?
I guess nothing. Rook e3 is on the board.
Well, we're about to find out what Chucker has in mind. I mean, king c4 is a possibility, I guess.
Give up the piece. No,
I don't think it's a possibility because if you play, he plays bishop takes c4. We might actually see a draw after all.
No.
You know what that means.
Yeah. More Armageddon.
More Armageddon. Okay, so what's going to happen here? We're going to have a trade, right?
But Veselin no longer is risking to lose this, I think. F3.
He plays f3 immediately.
Yeah. Now there's going to be a trade because the bishop on e4 is under attack. You have to take. White's pawns are not going anywhere. And now if somebody can win this, I kind of feel it could be black, but the bar, of course, says it's dead draw.
No, now it says black is winning in this position. I think here you just play f2 and then I guess you play h5.
Right. And as soon as white plays b7, black just chills, plays bishop a7, stops those pawns, and they're just not going anywhere. Yeah.
So what does white do? If not rook takes e3. Oh, king c4. What an accurate move by Shakhriyar.
Right. So this literally forces black to take on d3 because otherwise bishop leaves the g1 h7 a7 diagonal. Rook d3, and with what do you take, by the way? With the I have no idea.
Are we sure that black is not risking to lose this? I mean, in certain cases.
Let's just watch this.
Yeah, it's impossible to make any predictions.
I mean, it's extremely unpredictable, you know. Yeah, this usually happens, dear viewers, when you're watching a game which involves pawn races. On top of that, we have the obstacle of bishops. We had a couple of knights. Incredibly difficult to evaluate. Incredibly difficult.
Yeah, totally impossible. You just try to find the best move, and if you're the player, you don't really care, what the engine eval is.
All right.
So Topalov and Mamedyar are both down to somewhere on the order of 3 minutes. I mean, the clock fluctuates a little bit as we get more accurate feeds.
I think this is going to be a drama. So if you have time, make popcorn.
Right.
Just make it. Come back while you can. 1 minute, maybe you have. There's going to be action. Because
so I don't believe a classic pawn race now.
Yeah, I don't believe this is going to end peacefully. It's going to end violently. There's not going to be like a study like draw. There's going to be something. There's going to be a very big event. So get ready for it.
I think we're going to have mutual promotion with the bishop still on the board. So white's going to play b6, which he just did. Black's going to start pushing his own pawn because there's nothing else to do, and he does.
And king
now
b5.
king b5 and a6. Here we go. And we're going to have 2 queens and a blitz game.
This is drama. Okay, here we go.
Total 3-result game. I mean, yeah, it's equal probably according to the engine, but you can see that either side can blunder here very, very easily.
Right. I mean, the black king, though, feels a bit more secure because he can always protect the king with bishop f4 and g5.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
Would
mean,
be fun to see it.
Topalov. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it would be fun to see a position with 4 queens on the board, but probably it's not going to happen.
Right. Now, Vaseline could take on b6 first and then promote to a queen if he wants. Because the problem is after h3 and h2, the funny thing is that this pawn is kind of unstoppable and black has no checks. I mean, you could play bishop f4 and it's still a draw.
Right.
So.
All right. That's the position. The bar is merciless. Bar says equal.
Yeah, equal either which way. And he takes
Bishop
on b6.
So it's going to be a draw after all. Is it?
Wow. It is. I think I'm pretty sure it is.
Take.
Yeah, it's going to be a dead draw because even without the pawns, it's a draw. Queen and bishop versus queen is quite easy.
Right. So there's no drama. I'm disappointed.
None. And a draw is agreed. So they just flat out agreed to a draw.
Oh.
Zero drama.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah, slightly disappointing, but the good news is that we will get guaranteed drama in the Armageddon. So we've got one more Armageddon to play between Mamedyarov and Topalov. And as they make preparations, we will go on a break. So we will see you here for the Armageddon. You're watching Norway Chess. We'll be back with a final Armageddon of round 3 on the other side of this break.
See you soon.
Welcome back to Norway Chess. Round 3 is almost in the books. We have one more Armageddon game to be played between Veselin Topalov and Shakir Mamedyarov here alongside Grandmaster Arturs Neiksans. We've got a couple minutes probably before the game begins, so we got some time to fill. Let's have a look at the leaderboard.
Right.
Arturs, another successful day for Vishy.
Right, indeed. So Wishy just keeps winning. I mean, he continues his winning ways. So having scored perfect victories in the classical games, 2 points out of 2, 6 points out of 6 in the football language, so to speak. Today he won the Armageddon match. So he is leading the tournament with 7.5 points. Wesley So is behind him with 6 points. As you see, the world champion Magnus Carlsen, thanks to today's very important victory in the Catalan, he took the pawn, he kept the pawn, he won the game. Now he has 5.5 points. MVL now is in the 4th place thanks to the meltdown from Carlsen's countryman Arian Tari, who did just an crazy knight x on e7 move, which we couldn't explain here in the studio. So Maxim is 4.5 points. Anish Giri stands at 4 points. And then we have Mamedyarov 3.5, Wang Hao with 3 points, Veselin Topalov with 2 points, but they are about to play the Armageddon game with Mamedyarov for potentially 1.5 more points. And finally, the tournament table is concluded by Aryan Tara with 2 points and Timur Rajabov with 1.5 points.
Yeah, Timur really struggling, and despite some good preparation in the Catalan, Magnus Carlsen playing another vintage game, just keeping the extra pawn, consolidating his position. The world champion always makes it look easy.
Right. So we can only learn from him. So here you see today's results. These are, these are today's results. So as you see, Carlsen got 3 points for his winning in the main time, so to speak, against Timur Rajabov. Wesley gets 1.5 points, winning the Armageddon, same as Anand. So I guess the another Armageddon between Mamedyarov and Topalov is going to about start any minute. Daniel, do you have any predictions?
So Mamedyarov's going to be white, right?
Right.
You keep the colors. Well, Veselin has struggled a lot with the clock, so I'm very concerned for his chances in the Armageddon. He's going to have to play fast in the opening. And, as always in the Armageddon, I think the opening is going to basically decide the outcome of the game.
Right. And Mamedyarov definitely is no stranger to Armageddons. He already played it in this tournament, also in the first round against Arian Tari. So once again, to remind the tournament regulations in Armageddon, you get 10 minutes for white, 7 minutes for black. It's after 40 moves plus 1 second. It's not a lot, but it's something. And of course, black has the draw odds. If black plays a draw, he wins the match and gets 1.5 points in the bag.
Indeed. Well, Veselin obviously incredibly experienced. I was thinking earlier during the break, who was the first to devise these Norway rules with 3 points? Was it? I want to say it was Bilbao, but I don't remember in what context. Like, I keep remembering that city name. Do you remember the tournaments in Bilbao? Did they actually have this kind of scoring?
I remember the existence.
You know what I'm talking about?
I vaguely know what you're talking about, but I don't remember the scoring system.
Yeah, I'm gonna look this up because I seem to remember Bilbao chess scoring.
Yeah, but no, it's actually really interesting. I mean, many tournaments have many interesting scoring systems. I think it's great. It's great for chess. I mean, they keep changing it, adding various ways to motivate the players to fight for more. Because imagine yourself, you're playing at the top level. You see the same guy for 150th time. And you don't really want to play against him. And then they just like motivate you, add a very interesting scoring system, and and then you play.
So I looked it up, and indeed, this is called the Bilbao scoring system, named after the Bilbao Chess Masters final. So this scoring system was first used in 2008.
All right.
Where you get a 3 for a win, a 1 for a draw, and a 0 for a loss. And back then, there wasn't the Armageddon edition. This scoring system was initially designed just to discourage draws, just because you would get so much more for a win. So it would make more sense to take risks. But I don't know if it really worked out. I really like the idea of having this Armageddon.
I like it.
To
I like it.
supplement the
I
scoring
think
system.
it's a great addition, indeed. So it gives some extra purpose. I mean, it feels a bit strange, right? But I like it, right?
Yeah,
of course. I mean, yeah, it's always been a problem at the professional chess. I mean, how to motivate the players, right?
Right. Yeah, especially in the age of online chess, where nothing, none of the online tournaments are rated.
Right, and also, Daniel, I picked up the stats. We talked about slightly about them, and some of them they've played against each other way too many times. So, for example, Anish Giri against Wesley So. Do you know what's the total number of games they have played against each other? Can you guess?
Just classical or total?
No, total.
I'm gonna guess 100.
115. You were close.
Oh my god, 115.
Right. 115. 115. Carlsen against Rajabov. How many games?
30.
80.
Wow.
So imagine you're meeting the same guy 80 times. That's a lot. And actually, it's quite surprising. Here we had, between today's matchups, Anand against Wang, it's only 8 games. And Tari against MVL, only 6 games. So not really used to each other yet.
Well, for someone who's under 2,700, Aryan has had quite a few chances to play the top guys, which is great for him.
Right.
He's played in he played in last year's Norway Chess, I think, too, right?
He's played at least a couple of times. I think I think at least once for sure, maybe twice, because I think Norwegian Chess Federation does a wonderful thing and keeps inviting also some of the other best players from Norway, thus promoting the chess in the country. So it's not only Magnus, they have also Aryan, they have Jon Ludwig, Hammer, and Christiansen. So yeah, so very good.
Yeah, Johann Sebastian Christensen, who moonlights, I think, as a bartender in the chess bar in Oslo. Oslo sounds like a great place to be if you're a chess player. I definitely want to visit some at some point.
Have you been in the bar? What was it called?
No.
The Good Night? No.
The Good Night.
The Good Night, yeah.
I haven't been to Norway, so.
Oh, at all? Wow.
No. Okay. I really want to visit. I mean,
I was there. I was there actually I realized that it was actually recently. I realized that I was there in 2013. During the first edition, I was there in Stavanger. There was an open tournament. I mean, okay, not a very big one, but we organized a tournament also for casual people. I played there. I won it. So it was actually pretty nice to see all the greats playing there on site. It was pretty special. Back then, it was just a maiden tournament. Now, look at this. I mean, it's already 10th edition.
And it's a beautiful country, of course. I mean, very expensive, $50 pizzas. My brother went a year ago, and he was like, man, beer is like $15, but, the country is absolutely stunning.
Right.
What I hear.
Right. Indeed. All right.
Okay, well, we're waiting. The game should begin any second. I think it's been about 15 minutes, 20 minutes?
Yeah, they're definitely not hurrying.
No. I wonder what they're doing. Like, wouldn't the players like to just start the game faster? Like, is this 15-minute break really going to help them recuperate that much?
I don't really know. Maybe they indeed have a clock and it's running out. The timer is running out, and the arbiter then says, listen, you can take your seats. I have no idea, maybe, because the regulations do dictate. I think it was actually, it has to start within 20 minutes, something like that.
Right. Well, since we have a little bit of time, we want to make a very important announcement, which is that the final of the JSCC, which was postponed, is now scheduled for Monday, June the 6th. This is going to be an absolutely epic match between Nihal Sarin and Arjun Erigaisi. That's coming your way June the 6th, Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. So the two Indian superstars are going to battle it out for the JSCC crown and a ticket to the SCC. So do not miss this match. It's coming your way this coming Monday.
Wow, that's going to be exciting. Who do you think is going to win it?
I think Nihal's pretty much the heavy favorite. I mean, he has shown in previous years how much of a monster he is in the JSCC format, and Arjun will need to step up his game if he wants to have a serious chance.
Yeah, but Naroditsky has had a wonderful year. I mean, I've been following his progress, just unbelievable. He's just skyrocketed very, very fast. I remember he was like a talented kid, sort of like a year, 2 years ago. There's boom, he's like beating everybody.
Yeah, he's 2680 now, I think, right? He was 2530 and now he's 2680.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, these rises are crazy from Hans and Arjun and all of these young players who are just tearing the opposition apart.
Yeah.
So.
All right,
Shakhriyar Veselin. Let's right. Maybe he's just deciding what to play.
Yep. So I guess it could be something like d4, because Shakhriyar is a big d4 fan. He likes various names oppositions.
I'm going to predict c4.
d4. Oh.
I'm predicting c4.
And what Veselin is going to respond?
e5.
c4, e5. I think it's going to be a Catalan.
Okay. Why should Mamedyarov play e4?
All right.
He's going to wait for us to make foolish predictions, and then we're going to have a Berlin. What does Veselin play these days against e4?
I guess he used to be one of the leading world's experts in the Najdorf, but since maybe lately he's not so actively following the latest trends in the Najdorf, in the opening theory, maybe he's opting for something more, which doesn't require to follow the latest trends. I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, Veselin has played pretty intermittently in the last couple of years, but, he's in a pretty good spot. He's just playing for his own enjoyment.
Right.
And, I always admire that. It's not easy to come back from time to time and play these kinds of tournaments.
I also would play there for pure enjoyment, but I'm not going to get there.
It appears that the players are taking their seats. We are getting word. So I'd say another 5-7 minutes while they take their seats. Yeah, pour the coffee,
Yeah.
Do some small talk. Okay.
Come on, Shakhriyar, don't fail me. Play d4.
Come on, Shakhriyar, don't fail me. Play c4. I think, and the game is just about to start any second now. So knight f3, e4, d4, and c4. Everything is on the table. And Mamedyarov is such a versatile player. Like, he's very dynamic at heart, but it's hard to pin down what exactly his style is. You were right. It was a Catalan. And he did play d4.
Felt it.
Nice.
I felt it.
Good job.
Thank you. All right, but this is not the main line, obviously. So 9b to d2, clearly not the main stuff. So what is this?
Bishop b2, cd. We have some sort of exchange in the center. Okay, queen e7 quickly by Veselin.
Right. Queen e7 to protect the bishop on b7. I guess Wesley wants to simplify the position with time. I'll execute a d takes on c4. I think Mamedyarov, one of the typical ideas here normally is at some point to take on d5, play a3 and e4, or maybe not. Okay, this is something.
Right. So now we have a standoff where black has to decide whether to take on c4. Yeah. The downside is that will allow the knight to get really, really active. It feels like white is slightly better here. This is very pleasant for white.
Rook d8 is a nice move. Yeah, just in case. Take over the e file.
Right.
D takes on c4 is not going to go anywhere. Maybe there's a room for some sort of a c takes on d5 because black cannot take with the rook on d5, presumably, or maybe he can take with the rook on d5 after the bishop trade. I was thinking about some rook c8 stuff. Maybe not very serious. So
Rook
c
C8 at the
takes,
end of the
bishop
line.
e5, take, rook c8. I saw a check. I gave a check, but maybe that's what it is. A check.
Right. You could also play. I mean, you could also play knight takes d5, but then maybe the other knight comes out to e4. I've seen these kinds of ideas before, and these knights can be very dangerous in the center. So, okay, CD has been played.
Yeah.
So now another big decision. I mean, Veselin could also play knight takes d5, but it makes intuitive sense to try to trade the bishops.
But after 95, white sometimes also wants to expand at the center, if it's possible here. E4, queen e2, grab space. Maybe not here, but it is one of the common ideas. Or go with your plan. Yeah, this knight c4, knight e4. There's many plans here.
Right. And Veselin,
he wants to take with the bishop. He wants to take with the bishop. Of course, he wants, because his task is to make a draw, and he needs to calculate what happens after this. Rook c8, or what about, most importantly, this glaring hole on c6, because as soon as the bishop goes away from b7, the c6 square is the typical Catalan problem. And he takes with knight.
Yeah, that square is always problematic, and he ends up going knight takes d5. So there was something he didn't like in that line, and he ends up dialing it back. Right. And playing knight takes d5, and now Shakhriyar, he can play queen c2, for example, just improving his position. Or he can move his knight from d2 either to c4 or to e4.
I would probably play queen c2 in a heartbeat, but maybe Shakhriyar is looking for something more complex. Maybe he's thinking about ideas like knight c4, a3, try to go after the bishop. Yeah, knight c4 is a very interesting move also, you know?
Yeah, knight c4, a3. a3 is a problem there for black. That bishop gets tangled up.
Right. And then white gets the two bishop advantage, maybe create a battery on the long diagonal, the bishop on b2, queen on d4, presumably black takes on d4, some problems. Yeah, this looks normal, but no, queen c2.
Yeah. No, I liked the idea of going knight c4. So he goes queen c2. Veselin down to 4.5 minutes already. Still down 3 minutes on the clock.
So still some problems with the c6 square. Knight f6, he goes for some liquidation. Okay.
So now he wants the bishop trade.
The bar doesn't like it. Not surprisingly, black is behind development.
Yeah, black's in a little trouble here. Now, knight e4. And Shakhriyar starting to amass his pieces in the center.
It's your idea. Yeah, this knight e4.
Right. And if you just blindly trade everything, then obviously you're going to get in huge trouble because of knight c6 again, as you pointed out, the Catalan problem. Yeah. The c6 square, always an issue for black in these positions.
Right. And what happens after something like knight e7? There's still the c6 problem, right? Knight e7, I might take on f6, I might take on b7, and some timely executed knight c6. Oh, yeah, that looks very bad.
Yeah, what does black do here? I mean, maybe knight f6 to d5.
I don't know.
It's
I think
really
he needs
hard to say what black should do.
I mean, yeah, knight a6, you just take on f6, ruin the pawn structure, so the knight cannot go. I mean, sometimes when I'm in these positions, I use the so-called elimination method. I just cross out every single move which is even legally moving. So no, 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 no. And finally you get like one or two moves
that are not great but playable. No, I feel like this is going downhill for Veselin, both clockwise and position-wise, because this position is nowhere near resolution. He finally plays knight bd7. He's got 3 minutes left. Maybe that's the lesser evil. I think that is the best that he can do.
Probably, but the knight on c6 will be a major problem. So now Shakhriyar has a chance to force matters with knight f6 or knight c6.
Which he plays, and now queen takes c6, and now he's got the two bishop advantage with both of his bishops fianchettoed and on great squares. And black cannot go rook a8 because of queen takes c8.
There's some major pressure. He's already kind of regretting, I think, the choice that he ventured here. The position is quite unpleasant, but You have to play the position you have.
Right. He played rook a b8 to get out of the X-ray of the bishop, because white was threatening actually knight f6 and queen takes a8.
All right.
Okay, rook fd1. Mamedyarov centralizes his other rook, and a quick trade on e4, with Veselin probably going to bring his other knight over to f6 or c5. But then the bishop on b4. You can't fall asleep on that bishop either. a3 is actually a threat here.
Yeah. Knight f6, bishop f3. Okay, now the big question is, can black trade the bishops? Can he play bishop a3? I mean, the bishops needs to go. No, h6. Okay.
What a cold-blooded move.
That is cold-blooded move indeed. I was worried about the bishop on b2, and I was thinking maybe I need to trade the bishop while I can, because with such monster bishops, the position is quite unpleasant, but maybe it's just solid.
King up to g2, and Chakra are taking the opportunity to improve his own position as well.
Maybe he's just starting to flag.
Yeah, I mean, 2 minutes for Veselin, and he's only going to get a 1 second increment. But he tries his best here as he accelerates his pace of play, trading on d1, going rook d8. And if the rooks are traded, black's
I
position
think that
will be not so hard
already
to
gave
play.
up. Shakriar already gave up on crushing Veselin very quickly. He very quickly made the decision just to apply incredible pressure on the time. He knows he is so much ahead on the clock. He has two bishops. He knows he can play forever. And it's a good practical choice. I like it. So, but I can't help but feel he got some better chances before. Something more direct. Maybe there was nothing immediately.
Yeah, it certainly felt that way. And now a big decision. He has to decide whether to trade rooks.
So if he doesn't trade it, what happens? There might be this bishop a3 or rook d2. So he does trade it to activate the bishops.
Bishop e5, continuing to grab space in the center.
So unpleasant.
Yeah, and it's easy to blunder. A move like knight d7, you can walk into bishop c7, and all sorts of shenanigans here. And Veselin dropping now to 2 minutes. I just don't see him pulling this out on the clock.
On the clock, no. Bishop c5, h4. He goes for g4, g5 idea. Oh, I like this. So h4 is very nice move. Sort of hinting at g4 ideas, g4, g5, g6. Maybe it's going to happen. When you sit this, you want to simplify the position from black, but there's just no way. Queen d7, white is not going to trade queens. Bishop d4, white is not going to trade the bishops.
Mamedyarov's technique here is so nice. The way he puts pressure, the way he keeps the tension. And Veselin with knight d5, now a minute and a half on the clock. And still 16 moves to be made until the 1 second increment.
This is going to be tough. Can I try to go for some queen a4, queen g4 ideas here? Or it's too much? Maybe there's nothing.
What about queen b7?
Oh, queen b7, queen e7, and you decline with queen b8, bishop e4. Yeah, that looks
well,
really
there
good.
I can play bishop takes d5, I think.
Okay. And it is on the board, queen b7, a5.
You probably don't, you don't want to take on d5. That gives too much clarity to the position, and that should be drawable for black.
Yeah. So bishop d5, I don't think that Mamedyarov wants to do. The bishop on f3 is too strong. Black gets some clarity indeed.
a4.
Okay.
Shutting down the queen side, and now f6 by Veselin, and that creates weaknesses on the king side. What about bishop g4?
Bishop, wow, what a move.
Maybe it's not so scary due to queen e8.
Bishop.
He drops his bishop back.
Some bishop h5, easy moves. e4, e5 ideas. Yeah. I don't think Veselin is going to hold this. Doesn't look like.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is that Chakrar is now down to 3 minutes and 43 seconds. King up to f7. Still holding. I mean, for now, he's still got everything defended.
Right.
But a lot of weaknesses.
And he goes back.
Back to f3, just provoking weaknesses, making it harder and harder for Veselin to make moves quickly.
Yep.
h5.
There might be sort of similar pawn structure compared to the famous Kasparov-Karpov game, the c4, e5.
Mm-hmm.
But now
So
black
far,
sort of looks solid.
yeah, Shakar hasn't made too much progress here. And he's actually given Veselin, these pawns might look weak, but they're all very nicely protected by the king.
Right. I had a feeling he could have done more before. Now, indeed, black is very solid. The bishop on c5 takes care of the queen side. Knight on e7 protects the king. The queen is now loose and can do whatever he wants. I mean, queen d2 maybe.
I think you're right. He is trying to flag him. Oh, apparently this was a mistake.
What?
Queen d1. Now queen c1 is a big threat, and the bishop is just trapped. The bishop is trapped after queen c1.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable. What does white do?
Just go back. Everything falls back, I guess. Queen e4.
Queen e4, but then already knight d5.
Yeah.
Shakar has let this one slip in a big way. Oh, and he allows knight d5.
Knight e5, queen c4, Veselin. Now he wants that black is going to take on c3, but he did not.
I didn't even see that pawn was hanging.
Me neither.
I mean, now his only chance is to flag him.
Right.
His only chance is to flag.
That's a very real plan, because queen a8, queen f8, g4, h5 ideas, plus 1 second.
That's nothing.
Yeah, I still think that Veselin is not going to make it. I mean, there's
so many candidate moves. Bishop back to e3.
What?
Now after the trade, it's much easier to play for black.
Why did he trade? That's so strange.
Yeah, now Veselin with a very astute move.
I kind of don't understand this trade. I mean, why do you need to trade the bishops? I would have played whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, bishop f4, bishop h6. I don't know. Just not trade the bishops. So now he trades the queens?
And that was really weird.
Okay.
And now knight c3. Okay, so the only chance for Shakar, I think, is to go king f3 and then g4 and then try to make... Whoa.
What just happened there?
I
thought it's...
Whoa.
What? There's some tricks, right? I mean, this is not real.
No, this is not real.
Queen c1. Is Shakar going to notice the queen blunder? He did not.
Right.
No.
He did not. He played bishop e3 instead. And now we're repeating deja vu. I mean, I thought for a second I hallucinated all of that. I had a dream that they went into this endgame.
Now, okay, now it's
Okay, well, we've seen all of this before, and he's about to go knight d5.
Well, don't give up the hope. Maybe the queens are still gonna appear.
Right, on c1.
On c1 somehow.
Before bishop c1, and now bishop e4 is gonna happen. Okay, we're back to square one.
All right.
Well,
g4
by Shakar are trying his best here. Bishop. Oh no. Nope.
First you play g4, then you go play g3 back. This is how it goes.
Then he plays king f1. He played a third move.
Wow. I have no idea what's going on here. So king f7. Maybe the pieces are flying on the board, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's probably that they're time scrambling and the DGT board isn't keeping up. At e4? What?
Bishop e4, knight c3, the pawn in a4.
Oh, that's the idea. Okay.
Wait, it might go back to e5. Hold your horses.
Oh, it did. No, it didn't. It disappeared entirely. And now the Topalov is losing. King g5. Oh, no, bishop e7. What? King h6?
Okay, this is crazy. What, e4? Is that real?
Topalov has 6 seconds.
Yeah, but the increment starts after move 40, right? I think he's getting an increment. Where's the piece? What?
Opposite colored bishops now? I think this is winning for white.
How? King g5, bishop e7.
No, but you go h5 at some point, no?
Bishop. Is it?
Or even f5, maybe. No.
King g5, king h6, you take on h4. I push b6, b7. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, and he won. Topalov lost on time.
No, wait, what?
No, he didn't win. He did. His time is still ticking. I think he lost on time.
Okay, this was the most entertaining Armageddon game definitely
Ever in history, right?
Yeah, you play
Yes, he
G4,
lost
you
on
go
time.
back G3. Yeah, you trade queens, then they appear magically again. I love that.
Well, that decision to play Queen E5 wasn't very good. It turned out that this endgame is actually not that easy to play for Black.
Oh,
So, wow. So
so he
at
was
the end of
right.
the day, we have confirmed that Shakur Mamedyarov has won the Armageddon.
Wow, what a roller coaster game! But I still was right. I mean, I had a feeling that Shakhriyar is going to win on time, and indeed he won on time. So congratulations.
Yeah, another frustrating clock situation for Veselin Topalov, but as a result, he gets 1 point. Shakur gets 1.5 points, and that concludes the games for the day. Let's have a look at the leaderboard one more time. The updated leaderboard with Shakur Mamedyarov in the middle of the pack together with Anish Giri, and Veselin Topalov now third from last, with Aryan and Rajabov struggling mightily in second to last and last place, respectively.
Right. So it's quite incredible to see Anand leading the tournament with 7.5 points. Also, I guess we need to revisit the schedule. So here you see the standings, and the following next round is going to be when it's going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time or 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Then there's going to be a break on June 4. Then there's another break on June 8, and action finishes on June 10 with the final round, the usual time.
Indeed, and round 4 is tomorrow at the same time, 8 a.m. Pacific start, 11 Eastern. And it's going to be another big round with Vishy trying to preserve his lead. But for now, it is time for us to wrap up coverage of round 3. Arturs, it's been a pleasure commentating with you, and a super interesting round all around.
It was also an absolute pleasure to do the commentary with you, Daniel. And yeah, I guess see you next time. Thank you, everybody, for watching. It was an absolute pleasure to have you here. Hope you liked it. Hope you enjoyed it. Participating in the guessing contest, and see you tomorrow.
And thank you to Hala. Thanks everybody in the chat. We will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.